I'm a barber. I've thrown student club nights and events. I've worked at Weatherspoons. I've had not one, but two clothing brands. I've done every hustle that you can think of on this planet. And through all of it, I found out one thing that nobody tells you about making money in university. Yes, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Firstly, I just want to apologize because I've not made anything on this series in so long. And that's because I've just been drowning in university work. Yes, I had loads of assignments, coursework, exams, but we thank God because I'm finally finished. And that means I can finish this series. Before I get into things, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it to your mom, your dad, your auntie, your sister, your uncle, your brother, your grandma, your grandpa. Yo, send this to someone that you know is going to university. Guys, let me know in the comments if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about specifically. I always say I've experienced everything in university, I think. And I would love to offer my advice, my opinions, my stories on anything you guys want to know about. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. I started out as a barber. My journey to becoming a barber started out with a very important conversation before I went to university, which essentially went like, with my dad and my brother, yo, you should consider cutting hair. Because I think I'd done it one time in lockdown and they just had that in the back of their mind. And my brother, who'd graduated from Kent years before, he was just like, yo, can't lie, if there was a student barber on my campus, they would have made so much money because there was no barber shop in the area, this, that, and the next. Like, people are going out the city to get haircuts or whatever. And in my head, I thought, it's like, maybe I should actually try and learn that because at worst, I'll only be able to cut my own hair. But at best, I'll be making peas on my own time. So naturally, I went ahead and I started learning how to cut hair. I didn't go to any barber school, by the way. I didn't pay for any course or whatever. I simply just sat in my local barber shop, watching my barber from morning till night, just trying to look in the technique. At that time, I couldn't cut anyone's hair because imagine going to your barber shop for the first time and your regular barber just says, yo, I've got some guy here, he's trying to learn, and we saying that 20, 30 pounds that you paid in full, we saying you're trying to let him try.
What?
Like, it's not gonna happen. So I spent like, what, July, August, just before I went to university, by the way, learning how to cut hair, just watching, even watching tutorials on YouTube, but I had no physical model to try on. And then it wasn't until like September where I got my first client. Like, shout out to the people that have been there from the get-go. I gave like my first shape up, terrible. I'll put a picture somewhere. I gave like 3 shape ups. I gave like 1 haircut. They were all horrible. Yeah. And then I had my first actual trim, like proper trim, like a week before I was about to go. And again, terrible. But you know what? I ran with it. I said, I'm a barber now. I went to university and that was the beginning of what this story is about. So I got to uni and I was determined to, you know, make peas, you know what I'm saying? Especially because the reason that I didn't want to work in university was because in my head, I was like, oh, I'm already doing a very difficult degree, mechanical engineering, masters as well. Why on earth am I gonna use my spare time, the free time that I have to go and work on someone else's time? When am I gonna party? That's literally how I was thinking. So I got to uni on Freshers Week and, you know, you're meeting everyone. I was telling every single person I knew, I'm a barber, come to me. I was so confident. The whole time, they didn't even know that I'd only cut one person's hair before in my life. I tell everyone, yeah, I'll get you right. Trust me, this, that, the next. People, I'm so sorry that I misled you, but I just needed to, you know, I wasn't intentionally misleading you because I actually genuinely thought I had it like that. What, for the first week or two, I was giving free trims, you know, the try before you buy thing. Yeah, people were trying and they were not buying. So first year went along and I think I had like 1 or 2 regular customers. I was cutting hair for like £15 at a time. So I was making 30 pounds at most. And don't get me wrong, guys, I was cutting like 1 to 2 people's hair a month, but I was still bad. I remember I would have some new clients here and there, and I remember I gave like a very bad trim one time to this guy. He lived in a popular accommodation. And you know, when you give a trim, when your trim is bad, like everyone's gonna ask you, you done that to you? You mashed up your thing. So I think I'd done that to him one time and I thought, yeah, it's over. All the popular people are gonna say, yo, he done that to you. He's gonna expose me and that's gonna be my barber career over. Actually, I did not get cancelled. Amidst these bad trims, I'll be telling myself, yo, let's just wrap it up. But I didn't want to quit because at this point in time, I'd quit TikTok. So I wasn't doing social media the way I am now, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, is this my life? I just start something and I just quit. So I said to myself, no, I don't give a crap, yeah? Sorry for my language, I don't give a heck. But I'm going to thug this thing out no matter what embarrassment that I face, I'm going to cut people's hair until I die. you know what I'm saying? And the achievements that were being achieved, like, yeah, I was bad, but as time went on, I was getting more clients. I was cutting notable people. I've cut professional footballers before. I've cut Afrobeats artist Bella Schmurder before. Like, how did I even end up here? How did I end up here? You've seen the trims. Like, I was doing disservice to people after disservice to people, but somehow we made it. So yeah, like, I thugged it out to present day, you know, and I've done so many great things. I've even held a masterclass. Even took it as far as cutting hair full time. So over second and third year, which I'll get into shortly, I was working part-time, you know, because the money that I was making wasn't even enough. And, you know, by my fourth year, I just said, can't I? Let's just go full-time. And going full-time was one of the best decisions I made this year because I've had the free time. I'm not drowning in debt. Like, I've kept my head above water and it's just been amazing. So the next way of making money for me was working a job. Yeah, guys, I didn't want to work a job like this. Genuinely, I would not have done it in university unless I needed to. So I picked up a job in my second year. I needed to make money for a certain venture I was trying to get into, which I'll get into shortly. But I started working at Wetherspoons, and my goodness me. Wetherspoons, if you work at Wetherspoons, firstly, you are one of God's strongest soldiers. If you drink at Wetherspoons, I think I might hate you. That place gets so flipping busy. You actually suffer in there on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I worked in the Wetherspoons in Birmingham New Street Station. I can say this now because I'm never going back. But yo, it would get so busy in there that you'll genuinely just be thinking like, is the money worth it? I was working in Wetherspoons and I was cutting the hair still at this point, and I was still a student. So I was doing quite a bit, but the money was important to me. And I want to say, if you feel like getting a job at university, like, don't be put off, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people, they prefer the fixed income, the regular income. They don't mind doing 8 to 16, 24 hours a week, whatever. Like, if that's for you, do it. Me personally, I was on like taking a risk. I preferred my free time over sacrificing it for a long period of time and then jambazzing later, like, and it wasn't, actually it was bad, but it could have been worse, you know what I'm saying? I worked at Wetherspoons for like a year and a half, I think. And the money was very, very, very important to me. It was very important to me. Like, it helped me to fund my next hustles. Yeah, just creating a bit of freedom for me that, to be honest, if I hadn't done it, I might not be where I am right now. So genuinely, I'm very thankful that I worked in Wetherspoons because boy, that was important to me at the time in second and third year. So my next side hustle, business, whatever we're gonna call it at this point, was events. And this was a very quick hustle. It was quick in terms of time period. I did my first event in second year when I was ACS president. I was like, oh, I want to throw a party for my birthday. Let me do it. I used my connections to get a club, get DJs, get the signboards. You can see them in the back there. They're even wrapped up because I'm moving out. But I did all of that and that was amazing. One thing about me, I like being the center of attention. I don't know if there's anything wrong with that, but on that day specifically, I was like, yeah, I need to relive this. And yes, people do events for money. So did I. But I didn't only do it for money. I actually genuinely did it because I just enjoyed partying. Like, having the ability to say that, like, people are saying, oh, this party was so cool, who threw that? I love that so much. I think that plays into the attention thing, but whatever. Yeah, in second year, I did my first event under the influence and it was amazing. I spoke about it in my last video as well. Make sure to check that out. We made quite a large sum of money, probably the most amount of money that I'd seen in one go in my life. And we just said, me and my friends, we got together and we said, yo, let's just do it. Like, at this point in like 2024 onwards, like, events companies were booming. Like, we were just before the boom, do you know what I'm saying? So our stocks just went up quickly. We did another event called Culture Clash. Again, we had an amazing turnout. It was all vibes. We made a good amount of money. And as I mentioned earlier, I actually did this. I started doing events and I started working at Wetherspoons because I needed the money to pay for my first event because the barbering money was not going to pay for anything club related. There just wasn't enough for me to do that. So yeah, like, one thing I will say about events is that they are very, very high investment. But I always tell people that have come to me and said, oh, I want to start events, how do you do this or whatnot? I always tell people putting money in is the easiest thing about this whole thing. Like with a club night or a day party, you can scrape together money by any means necessary, like if you really want to, but you can't guarantee that people will come to your event, especially in the Midlands, in London, wherever you might be from. There's parties all the time, yeah? And even when we were doing it, there wasn't as many parties as there are now, but there was still a lot of parties. Like now people are partying almost every day, especially in summer. Every single day, there's someone throwing an event. And that's the type of competition that you're surrounded by. So when I say do events, I would say do them, but at your own risk, because there's very high ROI. No, it's very high investment. And the ROI can shift depending on how people are feeling. But yeah, we did our second event, Culture Clash, and then we did another event after that during Valentine's period. And that was a good event by the standards of events at that time. But after our third event on Valentine's, at this point now I'm doing barbering, I'm cutting hair, I'm working at Wetherspoons. I'm still a student, by the way, still a student on a very hard course. So I'm doing a lot of things, and because I didn't achieve a certain goal that I wanted to with this third event, I started like really thinking about events. And I kind of thought along the way, like, am I really trying to do this? Because I was meeting people left, right, and center. And obviously I'm also getting really back into content creation. People were telling me, oh, I recognize you, but I don't know where from. And it was kind of irking me because I really wanted people to know I was a creator. Like some people might say I've seen you at a party or you're ACS president and stuff. And I just started thinking like, I want people to know me as a creator, not the guy that he puts on good parties all the time. Even though that's a good accolade, I just didn't want that. So post our third Valentine's event, I just said like, this is all fun, but I want to focus on content creation because I just want people to know me as T. the creator, not T. the Wetherspoons employee, not T. the barber, T. the whatnot, like, do you know what I'm saying? So I put events to the side because I just said, yeah, this is fun, but my time is better invested elsewhere. And like I said, I think that shows that I didn't just do this for the money, because trust me, you can make a lot of money. Ask, if you know anyone that does events, ask them. But for me, this was a long-term decision. Like, yeah, I might have made so much money in the moment, but I wouldn't have felt fulfilled because that wasn't my passion at the time. I still planned to do events at some point in my life, but the path I was going down at that time, I said, let me step back and be a creator. So I really went back to barbering and content creation. And I was still working at Wetherspoons, but I was working much less. And obviously I was still a student. Shout out to Master of Engineering. Another hustle that I got into over my time at university was clothing brands. Now this one was a funny one because I didn't aspire to become a fashion head or a businessman that does clothes and things like that. I didn't aspire. I kind of just got brought into it. My friends were like, yo, can't lie, we're about to do this thing. We saying, are you live? I'm like, at this time, this was like the end of first year, so I was broke. And I'd seen Clint 419, he's doing a Rolls Royce and that, like deals with Nike and that. I'm like, I like the sound of that. The way that they showed it to me, this made so much sense. Not only am I gonna become a rich man, but I'm gonna become a stylish rich man. Like people are gonna know who I am and people are gonna be wearing my drip, this, that, and the next. You see, this venture, I would say there was more desire for money than passion. Not to say I didn't get into it, because one thing about me, guys, I will get into whatever I do. Even if I'm not interested in it in the beginning, I'm gonna start learning about it. But originally, when I first got invited to join this brand, I was like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. I'm ready. We're gonna make so much peas. What I didn't know at the time, and this is why it's good to be very well educated when you get into things or have a passion for it at least. Clothing brands are expensive. They're expensive. My word. Getting samples, bulk orders, they take years to come. But I feel like this is more common info now. It's more like accessible on the internet. But I did not know this at the time. Nevertheless, we did it for time. We were designing clothes, but we just couldn't get off the ground because uni, man, you have to spend your money wisely, especially if you're living away from home. You have to decide, do you want to pay rent this month or do you want to, bulk order clothes? Like, and on top of that, the degree was getting harder. Less time was being available for these hustles. For in my case, especially, now I'm a barber, because this started in first year. I was a barber and I was ACS president and I was still a student. There was a point where all these hustles were going on at the same time. I thought I was Superman. I thought, yo, I can do all of this stuff. And I feel like one of my biggest weaknesses is that I feel like I can do everything at once. I want to show everyone that I can do everything at once. But not being able to do everything is not a sign of weakness. But that was my life at some point. I downloaded these apps. I was designing clothes. I was speaking to manufacturers on Alibaba and however else you meet them. I was talking to people left, right, and center about clothes. That was all over my mind at one point. I was even putting my degree at the back of my head just for the clothing brand. But yeah, like, we went along with it from second year onwards. And then at some point, because of all these things I was doing, I started getting really passionate about, you know, inspiring people to try new things, to get out of their comfort zone. And that was my shtick. That still is my shtick. I don't advocate for it as much because I haven't built the platform yet, but I'm going to. So that became my whole thing. And I said, yo, I really want to make a brand where, you know, people can be fearless. Like, I want to show people that, yo, put your mind to it, you can take this anywhere. And this came off the back of, I'm doing things that I've never had a passion before in my life, a passion to do before in my life. But here I am doing it. So what do I want to say from all this? Firstly, if you start a hustle in university, you have a built-in customer base already. I feel like in university, people are looking for convenience. So let's just say, for example, you also wanted to be a barber, you wanted to be a hairdresser. People are looking for hairdressers, for barbers. They're looking for people to be able to fill the void of things that they lost because they moved out. So you will already have people that are interested in what you do. As long as you promote yourself correctly, you know, word of mouth goes crazy, social media and whatnot, you are going to find an abundance of people that wants your service or wants your skill or talent or whatever. Students will support you through and through. I feel like uni is the land of hustlers. Like, you're gonna meet people that do the same thing as you, or they want to start this thing that you do as well, or whatever. People, they are going to support you because people respect someone that, you know, they have a passion for something. Like, they want to be like you. People tend to be drawn to people that, you know, they have desire. Students, they will support you all the way through because, like I said, this place is the land of hustlers. And once you meet those like-minded people, they're gonna join you and say, yo, let's do this together. Let's grow together. I also feel like uni is a low-risk environment. Because you're a student, you have the ability to fail as much as you want. Because at the end of the day, number one, even if the hustle doesn't work, you're still doing a degree. Your original goal is not to get derailed. You know what I'm saying? I hope that you won't stop your degree for your hustle, because you can do two things at once, as I have shown. I'm living proof, in fact. But even if you fail, you always have your degree to back you up. The skills that you build from these hustles as well, whether they fail or succeed, they're transferable. Like they always say when you're building your CV or whatever, like this, you pick up more than just education or your degree. Like, you pick up soft skills like teamwork, collaboration, all of that. When you start a business, you learn how to, I don't know, do accounts. You learn how to manage people, operations. You think I ever messaged someone on Alibaba before, giving them GSM, what fabric materials? Like, you learn things, and you then can take those things and apply them in many, many scenarios ever. You could turn into someone that advises people that want to start business, a consultant type vibe. Don't wait until you're ready. Had I waited when I was cutting hair for, I don't know, 10 trims, 15, 20, whilst I may have been better off, you know, more people would have trusted me or whatever, I would have been wasting so much time. I think get pen to paper as soon as possible. Don't wait for something, don't sit on an idea. Do it and just let your legs start walking. You know what I'm saying? The journey will figure itself out. You don't need to have a fully planned idea or fully planned route, because your route is going to change so much. I did not ever think when I started cutting hair that I would turn it into a YouTube series. Here I am now, 4 years later. Pay attention to the things that consistently stay on your mind. That when I was doing these things, I was always thinking about content creation. You know, that was the anchor of my identity. Even my degree, like, I was still thinking about content creation and barbering. Through every hustle, there was still these two things that kind of revolved around every other thing. Those were the common factors. Like, when I was doing events, I would be doing like discounts for the events if you got a trim from me, or I don't know, I'll be making content about my events and just things like that. If there's a recurring theme or something that you always come back to, that might be your thing. all in all, uni is the best place to try everything. You can try and try and try again until you're satisfied. Try until your heart's content, because you don't get many opportunities like this to try over and over again. The customer base is built in, the stakes are low. See, if you decide to start a hustle post-grad, like, the older you are when you decide to start things, the more responsibilities you have. Imagine starting a hustle when you've got a 9 to 5. And now you're 9 to 5, you're doing your 9 to 5, 5 to 9, partying, 12 to 9 a.m. in the morning. Like, there's a lot of responsibility that you add to yourself. When you're in uni, you have less responsibility. You know what I'm saying? You wake up, go to uni, do your work, do your hustle. That's it. I also think the younger you are, or when you're a student, no one expects you to have everything figured out. No one expects you to be perfect at anything, because that's just not realistic. We're all in this place trying to figure out who we are, what we want to do, what we want to do with our lives. So there's no reason that you should have it all sorted out. And if you do, hey, props to you. Teach me, in fact. Because even me as I'm making this video, I'm still not there. Don't just try things for the sake of it. Pay attention to your passions, your interests, your skills, your natural born talents, and just see what you do and what survives from it. Whatever you have a passion in, follow your heart, and follow your heart, do it. If it seems feasible, plausible, go ahead, go crazy. This might sound cliche, but you genuinely won't find your thing by planning ahead, like making a perfect route for your life. Your thing will find you. As cliche as that sounds, it will find you, because if you try and fail enough, you're gonna realize quickly that I don't even want this thing to fail, so I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna try again. I failed with the barbering so many times. I can show you all the trims. I'll even try and put them here as I'm talking, but every single time I said, nah, we go again next time. Got back to the tutorials, made sure I promoted it, and I was back again on my feet. Even content creation, look at me now. You know, there's many videos that do terribly. I don't even know how this is gonna do, but I'm doing it because this is my passion. I've had 4 long years to become who I am now. And this is why I'm giving my advice back to you guys, because I didn't realize it straight away at the time. So it would be a disservice of me not to share my story. But yeah, that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed listening to my stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it to your mom, your dad, your auntie, your uncle, your brother, your sister. Share it to anyone that you know is going to university. I promise you, they will benefit from this greatly. Guys, let me know what you want me to talk about in my next videos. I promise you, I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to finish this series because I have very big plans post-graduation. But I also have many more episodes to film. It's been T Dot, the one and only, the only one. I will see you guys on the next episode.